Well, now I'm going to talk about Eduardo's book. When I met Eduardo, I wasn't a professional writer yet. I haven't made my decision of becoming a professional writer. I was an enthusiast writer. So he was a professor, at Temple University. He had been published a couple of times, and he decided to very generously, to teach me a few tricks, in his art, and to bring me on board, and and to initiate this trip that we are together in. For now, because next year he's going to, go to Czech Republic, to make his life in there. I'm going to come back to Argentina, and after that, who knows? And for these 3 years that we've been together, just writing, and he's been my mentor and my professor. And he's somebody that I really admire, because he has a heart, a strong heart, and he cares for others. Because it's very difficult, to share identity with somebody else, and at times you end up a little bit confused. But if you have an alter ego like him, like is supporting and encouraging, and a good teacher and generous and with a lot of solidarity. Does that word exist? Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Things are easier. So basically, I am honored and tonight presenting his book. It's a beautiful book. It's a book that talks about a lot of places, but it's important. Tonight is mostly important because quite a few stories talk about his Philadelphia, the Philadelphia that he experienced. I'm sure that some of you met him when he wasn't here, and you know what I'm talking about. So basically, this is a chronicle book. Back in Latin America, the chronicle is not as popular as it is here in the United States. And he decided somehow to use the chronicle as an exploratory vehicle, for the existential issues that we all share. And he decided to make the readers travel through this book. We have stories in El Salvador, we have stories in Philadelphia and New York. Philadelphia, quite a few. I think it's a Philadelphian book because it has a strong ingredient, Philadelphia ingredient. Some of them happen in Praga, in the Czech Republic. So basically, he uses these, chronicles to show us different things that he observes in the world. And can you tell us why you chose the chronicle as an exploratory vehicle, to show all the issues, the subjects?
Yeah, well, thank you for your introduction, Edu. It's one of my genders, I would say. Not the only one. I mean, I like to show the themes that I choose also through my fiction, my novels and my short stories, even my poetry. But since I left Colombia, in the December of 2006, the chronicle writing suited me very well, because I have been exposed to several different situations which are interesting, and the way that I show them to the readers is through the chronicles, which is one way of showing them. They could also be shown by stories, like fiction stories, which I actually do also. So I also write short stories, and actually I'm very interested in writing a book about immigrants in Philadelphia, and I have a couple of stories, but I need to sit down and write at least like 10 more stories, so that I have a book of 12 stories that I can launch with with different themes of what immigrants have to go through when they leave their countries and go to another country and expose themselves to difficult situations. So, but it actually, it's actually a gender that suits me well. I like it because I can do explorations as the writer. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
As the writer. So, which would be different, like in fiction, because the explorations over there would be done like the narrator would be doing the exploration, not the actual writer. Although, the narrator and the writer, it's the same thing, but it's not the same thing.
Narrator can't be accused.
Exactly. Exactly.
But one thing that really, this book is very, very valuable, because one of the things that I really admire the most about the Eduardo Bechara Navratilova is that his honesty. He's an honest writer, and chronicle, in order to be effective, he needs to be honest, because that's why you need to rely on the good memory of the chronist, and also if you were to just deviate a little bit the facts in order to favor the story wouldn't be as good, because the chronicle, the first rule is it should be the truth and nothing but the truth, right? So basically this he put together all the stories, and I know, because I have been reading him for so long, that there's not a dot or a comma that is out of place. And we have this story that gives the book the name, which is One Day Bomb, Mendigo por un día. What can you tell us about this?
Okay, one day bomb. Actually, we have to go back like to first semester, spring semester 2007, when I did a 6-month trip through the whole Brazilian coast, writing for El Tiempo newspaper, in a project that it was like a fundraiser for poor kids with cancer in Colombia. So I started seeing myself like this character of almost of a fiction story, but the character like a character in a story. And when I came here to Philadelphia, and I lived 6 months in North Philly, in the corner of Susquehanna and Woodstock, which is almost in the 20th, which is a really like a tough neighborhood. I did it because I wanted to feel the experience of living over there, of knowing how it was, and that's that was something that I was bringing from my Brazilian trip, because in Brazil I had been exposed to poverty, to suffering, like very close to me. And like, for example, in Rio de Janeiro, I was in a favela. A favela is like one of those very iconic, rundown neighborhoods, and I was almost killed there. But it showed me that if you really want to write about poverty and suffering and human beings, you really have to do it from inside. Not from from a pedestal, but from inside, from really getting to know the experience of people that suffer. So, after I had to go like running out from that place where I lived, because actually there was like a gang there, a drug dealer gang, that thought that I was an undercover police. Like my hair was long, and It was exactly like the disguise that undercover police uses. So, you know, I had to go running away from there because things were getting messy. And I came actually to live here like a block away in 13th and Chestnut in a building that's called Adelphia House. And in the summer, I started seeing a lot of bums in the street. You know, I went out of my apartment building, and then I would see through Chestnut Street and, you know, in other streets a lot of bums. So the idea of, you know, of feeling the experience of being a bum started to, you know, I started to have it in my head until one day, you know, I just said, okay, if we're going to do it, let's do it. You know, because or either you do things or you don't, and you know, I didn't think about it anymore. I just, you know, put some really ruggedy clothes on top, and, you know, like with my long hair, and, you know, I actually had been thinking about doing it for quite a while, so I hadn't really shaved for like a month. I really looked like a Yankee. Like, how do you say it? Like a
Bum.
not like a bum, like if I was a drug addict, actually. Junkie, like a junkie. So, not like a Yankee, but a Yankee.
Not all Yankees are junkies.
So anyhow.
Now you look like that.
So anyhow, my experience was very interesting because, you know, one of the most important themes that I or, you know, conclusions that I saw was the theme of invisibility. You know, bums are invisible to society, you know, and actually to feel it was, you know, you felt it. You know, people like walked like almost through you, like if you were like a ghost, like if you didn't even have flesh and blood. And the other very interesting thing that I noticed is that everybody has a determination. You know, even if it's a short-term determination, you know, even if it's going from point A to point B, like from your house to work, or from work to your house, or to go to buy groceries, or to take your kid to school, or back from school, or whatever, there's a determination in it. You know, we're doing things because we appreciate life, and you know, it's things that need to be done in order to keep on living, and even like doing your laundry has a determination inside. But the bum has no determination at all. So then, like a big metaphor also of life is that even like people that lose determination in life, like they don't have a goal or they don't have a dream anymore, they become invisible also to the people that surround them. So you know, that's, you know, that those subjects, and, you know, some other subjects, I treated them in One Day Bum, which is a chronicle about, you know, me going out asking for money. And as a matter of fact, I really saw that it's very difficult to ask for money. I mean, you need training to do it also. And
How much money you got?
I'm a very lousy bum. I didn't get more than $2.50 actually. Yeah, and actually the more generous people are the ones that less have. So, you know, and actually like this Mexican illegal immigrants in a restaurant, you know, gave me some pizza and some Coke for free, so that you can see that, you know, the people that have been through difficulties during their life are the ones that, you know, are more sensitive because they know what it feels like. So that's basically the subject in One Day Bum, Mendigo por un día.
When you talk about this is something I never asked, but when you talk about determination, you're also talking about dreams, right? Like how important it is for people to keep the dreams, you know, going on, or reinvent their dreams, or how can you link that story to the Pibe Valderrama and the dreams?
Okay, there's another chronicle that's called Pío Valderrama and the Dreams, which actually, you know, we went to interview El Pibe with a Colombian journalist, Ciro Perez, which actually Tito is his son here. And you know, after Ciro interviewed El Pibe,
Who is Pibe?
anybody here that doesn't know who the Pío Valderrama is?
Yeah, I think most of the people don't know.
Okay, he was like one of the most important soccer players of Colombia of all times and of the world in a given moment. Okay, he was a guy with, you know, blonde hair like this, very characteristic curly hair, and he was reputed as one of the best soccer players at one time. So after he was interviewed, you know, I started talking about him. And he said something which is very important. He said that parents should support their kids' dreams. So, you know, I started thinking about this, and I actually wrote the chronicle, like thinking that El Pío Valderrama, you know, was a little kid with dreams, and because his parents, you know, supported him in his dreams, and because he had the dream and he had the drive and the determination, you know, to grasp his dream, you know, he did what he did in order to become one of the most important football players in the world. But he was nobody before being a famous soccer player. And you know, so I do a parallel with Shakira, which is also Colombian, which, you know, people laughed about at her when, you know, she was a teenager and used to sing in concerts in Barranquilla, her hometown. And she would say, you know, one day I'm going to be a very important international star. And people would say, oh, yeah, all right, keep dreaming. You know, and she too was a kid with dreams. So, of course, like, I do a parallel with my own story of being a writer. And, you know, while I was writing the chronicle, I came up to the conclusion that you can like pedal in a static bicycle, and you're not going anywhere. Because many times I felt that I was going nowhere. You know, I was working and working and working, and, you know, with so much stress and so much effort that I had to put on it, and I was going nowhere. So I got to the conclusion that you can pedal in a static bicycle, and you're not going anywhere, but your legs are getting strong. And at the end, what you're doing is that you're training. And when the opportunity comes, your legs are going to be strong so that you can, you know, make the best out of the opportunity that's given to you. So at the end, you know, it's like, follow your dreams. Follow them and make them reality.
So one of the subjects that, besides dreams and invisibility, you also talk about fear and risk. And you have a couple of chronicles here that talk about it. What can you tell about Martinsville from the pit and sad defeat?
Okay, well, sad defeat against the Bull. Actually, I go with the same Colombian journalist. We take our car from Philly to New York to see a Philadelphia Union game against the Red Bulls, and we start talking about a fear, and that everybody has fear, you know. And the football players have fear, you know, like the midfield. The goalie has fear of being of the forwards, and the forwards have fear of, you know, the defenders, and all of them, they have fear of being at one point or another getting injured, and the referee has fear of, you know, making a bad decision, and, you know, so we started talking about fear, and fear in general, you know, fear against changes. Fear against